Hello, welcome back to another edition of the I'm Always Right Sports Podcast. I am your host, as always, the mouth of Michigan, Rob Mendyka. With me, as always, my co-host, the Merkso Mike Merkel,
yes.
and the returning, the Messiah himself, the Whale Man. Kyle Budznowski graces us with his presence. He had a feeling what we're going to be talking about today, so of course he had to show up.
Yeah.
Guys, we have so much to go over. NFL playoffs are in full effect. We're going to jump into, as of this recording, Saturday's games, right? We're not going to predict what's going to happen on Sunday because that's when we're recording the show, so obviously we can't predict because by the time you guys hear this episode, those games will have already happened, but we got some other topics we want to dive into. We're going to talk some of the new XFL rules, which is, the XFL, the new hotness coming in here in a couple weeks here, right after the Super Bowl. We're going to also unveil who the I'm Always Right Sports Podcast is going to be fully supporting in the XFL, too. We have a breaking news alert going on here. We're going to explain our rationale with that. We're also going to have another edition, the second of 2020, of the Merkso Mock Draft Corner. We're going to delve into some trade scenarios as well and see what's going on. We're also going to talk one more time about the college football playoff, the finale, right? We're going to talk just briefly on that for a hot minute. And then we're also going to talk Big Ten basketball, how basically no one predicted what the hell was going to happen. So
no one knows. Not even Kyle.
Right, exactly. Let's talk right now, though. Let's jump right into the NFL playoffs, right? We got one team, we had upsets last week, right? Minnesota beat New Orleans, right? I don't know if necessarily Tennessee winning last week. Would you call that an upset?
Yes, but like an expected upset.
Yeah, right. That was more sarcasm because we talked about But Tennessee beating New England last week, right? And now this week, Tennessee getting the win over Baltimore, the number one seed. Lamar Jackson, it was in, the Michael Vick comparisons were in full effect, right? They get the win there, and obviously Minnesota then falls to the Niners, right? Two teams that winning, both heavy run teams, right? Mm-hmm. I mean, you look at their quarterbacks. Jimmy Garoppolo goes 11 for 19, 130 yards, touchdown and a pick. That's not anything to write home about. Ryan Tannehill of the last two games has got like 190 passing yards combined, 3 touchdowns, interception. Also nothing to write home about, but they're winning. They're winning football games, right? They're both going to the AFC and NFC Championship game, respectively. What I want to talk to you guys about here, and I want to ask you about is what is the catalyst? Obviously, it's the run game, right? But I think anybody with a brain could go out there and say, "Hey, Derrick Henry, we got to stop him." That's the goal. We have to stop Derrick Henry. Mm-hmm. Oh, the Niners run the ball really well. We have to stop. Name a running back that they put back there. You know what I mean? We have to stop them, right? Make them throw the ball. Right? Because we got a better shot of doing that than we do them running the ball down our throats for 35 times a game. So my question to you, Mike, as our resident defensive coordinator of the group here, is why aren't teams able to stop it? What are these teams doing that is just completely just going, wow, I don't know what's going on?
Well, I think it's more of the makeup of each team. I think, and they're both very unique setups. So I think the 49ers benefit from a very strong power game. Yeah. So Minnesota comes in exhausted, 5 days rest, having to go go back on the road to San Fran, which is a West Coast trip for them also. Right, it's not an easy task at all to go there.
No, it's a 5-hour plane ride.
Yeah, sure. And the 49ers just run the ball every single play. They're like, here we go. We're just going to run you down and demoralize you a little bit until you literally want to die afterwards. So that was their strategy. On the flip side, I think Baltimore would have benefited from playing in the wild card weekend because I think they're the more finesse team. Yeah. They're more finesse running. They have a lot of trickery and stuff. So not playing a meaningful game for about 3 to 4 weeks since probably December 8th, I think, when they officially got into the playoffs. Yeah. And got the 1 seed officially. They haven't really played a meaningful game. Then they sat out week 17, and then they had the wild card week out. Right. So they had basically about 3 weeks off.
Right, exactly. So then obviously Tennessee coming in, having to play up until week 17 to get in. Yeah. Right.
And then they played the wild card weekend against the Dynasty team.
Right, exactly.
So you have all these, from about week 15 on, you had playoff scenario games.
Playoff games, absolutely.
So they're just more ready. They were more built for it. And I think you're starting to see more in the regular season, the airing the ball out, the finesse running is getting you there because it's a week-to-week basis. You're like, listen, if we can't stop you, we'll go on to next week.
Right.
Where now it's like, we have to stop you. So now the power run is the reason why people are getting through.
Absolutely, and that's something too. I think that you're seeing the complete inverse of what teams are doing that was successful, right? The first half of the year, or in the regular season, right? The Saints, even Kansas City to a certain aspect. I'm very interested to see what they're going to do today. Those kind of teams where they just air the ball out, 30, 45 times a game. They say, all right, we got the run game sometimes, but they're more to catch the ball in the backfield. Where now you're seeing these teams that are 9-7, 10-6, the Niners notwithstanding, right? Because, that you're seeing that it's all about ball control. It's all about the possession. It's all about, I think at one point it was almost like a 2-to-1 ratio in the game between the Niners and the Vikings yesterday, where you seen, the Niners just went, all right, first and 10, now it's 2nd and 6. 2nd and 6 goes to 3rd and 2. 3rd and 2, first down. All right, there's 3, and there's another 3, and there's another 3. Oh, we got play action pass for a quick slant pass. Okay, and another 3, and another 3. And you just see them completely wear them out, which allows that defense, which is very, very good, to completely just go, pin their ears back and go. Yeah. Right? Because I think Dalvin Cook had, 9 carries in the game?
For 18 yards.
Yeah, for 18 yards, right? Mm-hmm. So they went in knowing, all right, we're still going to make Kirk Cousins try to beat you, right? So they abandoned the run. They force you to be one-dimensional. And then all of a sudden now you're just like, well, crap. It's not like the secondary is any easier to, throw against either. So the Niners had a great plan against Minnesota. Similar with Tennessee, where you're just saying, we're going to keep the ball out of Lamar Jackson's hands as much as we can, right? Yeah. Now, Kyle, I want to talk to you. What do you think? What are you making of the hate that Lamar is now getting? Right? We all talked about at some point during the year where Lamar just kind of came on like fire and was like, all right, well, he's the new hotness, right? Mm-hmm. And he's probably going to be the MVP. Russell Wilson notwithstanding. I'm sorry, Mike. But notwithstanding, but he's probably going to win the MVP. He had a great season, right? And yet he gets shut down in the divisional championship game, and everyone's like, see, he's a failure. Do you think that he's a flash in the pan, or do you think there's more substance to what Baltimore's got going on?
I think a lot of the reason why they ended up losing this game was just inexperience, especially when you have a quarterback who's completely new to this type of situation, completely new to all the hype. But I thought, I kind of expected, I didn't really expect them to put up 12 points. What I kind of expected was if you make Lamar Jackson have to throw, then that's putting them in a situation where they're going to lose. And they do have a Mark Ingram, I think, is a great runner. And
he was banged up too going into the game, right? You could tell very easily. You could very tell he was hurt.
I think a lot of the success Lamar Jackson had being able to throw, lead pocket throw, make great passes, whatever, do what he did. That's going to win him the MVP. I thought a lot of that came from the Mark Ingram being able to run the ball, keeping the defense on their toes, and then along with just the greatness and greatness, like the skill.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, I think. Well, and that's the thing too. I think Mark Ingram benefits just as much from Lamar Jackson as Lamar Jackson benefits from Mark Ingram, right? That read option was deadly during the year.
I think he's hitting where Russell Wilson was early in his career.
Yes.
Russell Wilson was not a very good passer early, but he had a dominant run game with Marshawn Lynch. And his first year, he gets bounced in the second round after beating the Redskins in the wild card. They get bounced by Atlanta.
Right.
But their second year, they make it to the Super Bowl. But was it really off Russell Wilson? Not really.
No, defense was good. Run game was good.
Yep.
Ball control, right? And let the other team screw up.
And then his third year, he made it to the Super Bowl in the exact same way. Ball control. And now when you see the running game go away, now Russell Wilson's become more of a pocket passer.
Right.
And that's why they're so
consistent. The development.
So I think the problem that Lamar might face is if he doesn't become a pocket passer, I think he's not going to get very far in the playoffs because Tennessee in their post-game press conference literally went, if you just play Madden, we did engage 8. It was a quote that they did.
Right.
We did engage 8 and man-to-man and it said beat us.
Exactly.
And we stopped the run and said beat us. And
I anticipate Baltimore to invest more in the skill position players.
Yes.
Another wide receiver, a true number one. Like Hollywood Brown, a great player, but I don't think he's a true number one. They need a number one guy in Baltimore, right? That's something we can talk about in the mock draft stuff. But I think that's a great comparison in a lot of ways, right? And what Mike is saying by pocket passer doesn't mean Brady, Manning, where you don't leave the 3-yard area. But what he is saying is that Russell Wilson has developed into a quarterback where at any time, right? The throw is there, right? He can make a throw. He throws the guy open. He elevates guys, is what we're saying at this point in time, right? Tyler Lockett, who, out of Kansas State or whatever like that, everyone's like, who the hell is this, right? Now it's like, wow, Wilson to Tyler Lockett, that's money every time. You know what I mean? So, I think that's a great comparison because I think that a lot of people aren't seeing that is that, I think there's some building blocks for Lamar here, you know what I mean? The stats will always kind of be there, similar to Vic. I think that's where Vic ran into problems. I don't think Michael Vick truly ever became like a really, really, really good thrower of the football, right? I mean, he could sling it at times, but without the ability to leave, he always looked a little bit uncomfortable, right?
Yes.
That's why the Eagles always had more success with a guy like McNabb, who had a little bit of mobility, but McNabb could sit in the pocket and tear you apart with James Thrash as his wide receiver. You know what I mean? Like, there's a little bit of a difference there, for sure. Let's do this, right? Have your predictions changed at all? You still with the Seahawks? Not knowing what happens today, right? Are you confident that the Seahawks still get the dub?
I'm giving confidence until they show me otherwise. I'm going Seahawks, and I still think the Chiefs come out of the AFC.
Right.
I've said that since the playoffs started.
Right.
I thought it was going to be Baltimore Chiefs and Chiefs win it.
Yeah.
Now I think it's going to be Chiefs Titans.
Right.
Chiefs still win it.
Can we talk about just for a second if the Super Bowl is like Niners Tennessee? What of a weird game
that would be.
Where it'd be like, all right, well, we're about to see the most rushing attempts in Super Bowl history.
But
it's not even
we could do the flip side, and how amazing would it be if we see like Seahawks Chiefs?
Yeah.
And you just get Russell Wilson.
I'm gonna put this on the air right now. If Green Bay makes a Super Bowl, you're gonna see one very unhappy camper here on the Imo's Right Sports Podcast.
I think for how much hate that you have toward the Packers, I think that'd be a phenomenal game.
Oh my gosh, I'd just be so.
You'll just throw the ball everywhere.
Gosh, I'd just be like, I hate you so much. All right, let's jump right in now. Let's go to the Merc Zone mock draft corner today. Kyle, you missed last week. It was the debut, new decade, new year, new mock drafts, as always. Like we explained last week, right, the Merc Zone mock draft, basically Mike finds a mock draft that he has, that he likes to scare me with. Different scenarios, right? This week, though, is going to be a little bit different. We're going to go over the first couple rounds, possibly, but we're also then going to explore a possible trade scenario, and then we're also going to spend a little bit of time debunking something, too, because I want to get some things off of my chest that I've had brewing for a couple days now. So, Mike, where's this mock draft from, first off?
We're finding this from 247sports.com by my man Lance. Shout out to Lance.
Shout out to Lance.
We're using your mock draft.
Not going to say your last name. You should know.
No, it's a long last name, so we're just going to...
All right, let's go for it.
It's a 2-round draft if we get that far.
Yeah, right.
So, number one, I'm going to hide my phone away from Rob so he can't see because we have him guess on this show. That's the fun
exactly,
show.
Right.
Number one, who do you think
Joe Burrow.
Cincinnati goes?
Joe Burrow.
Kyle?
Joe Burrow.
You both are correct.
Kyle's like, please be right, please be right, please be right.
Okay, number two, Washington Redskins. They pick.
I'm gonna say. I'll let Kyle go first. So I can't copy all my answers.
Cheaters.
Chase Young.
Yeah, it's Chase Young.
It is Chase Young.
Here's the thing, and I'm gonna say this now, right? If you're a Lions fan, before we continue on, the Chase Young dream, as much as I want it to be a thing, probably isn't for one reason. Ron Rivera's there, and they don't have a GM right now. So they let Ron Rivera basically, along with a whole bunch of other scouts, go, hey, draft, and then we're going to hire a GM. That does not bode well if you're a Lions fan wanting Chase Young. I'm just throwing that out there. So just temper your expectations and hoping that Washington doesn't do something weird.
Yeah.
I'd be willing to bet a lot of money that Chase Young is the pick.
Okay.
Just based off of what I'm hearing and seeing, based off of the organizational structure on Washington right now.
Number three, Detroit Lions pick. Kyle, who do they draft?
Okay. I want them. Okay. Out of just a pure excitement, not because
I'm going to smack you right as we stand.
Not because it's good. I want them to take Tua.
I hate
that. They're going to take Okuda.
I'm going to smack him later when we get off the air.
They're taking
so they should take, if they're staying at 3, Okuda's pick.
They do pick Jeff Okuda at number 3.
Right. Okay. So here, let's pause here for just a second here, because Kyle addresses something. So this is why I need to yell at him now. All right. I'm talking to all Lions fans. I'm talking to all 97.1 The Ticket listeners, especially. I'm talking to all of the radio hosts at that station because for whatever reason you're all fascinated with this process. You have two options when it comes to Tua Tagovailoa, right? If you take Tua, you are admitting to yourselves that you are not ready to win yet. That's what you're saying, because you are letting the development of a quarterback happen, right? Because you cannot get rid of Matthew Stafford this year without a $20 million cap hit, okay? That's my first point. The second point is, if you take Tua, you are saying you are not ready to win now, which means that Patricia and Quinn and the whole Ford family, everything they just told us that we talked about just a couple weeks ago, where they're saying we expect to be a playoff contender, you at number 3 cannot take a guy who is not going to play for you. It doesn't work, okay? Whether you are a fan of Matthew Stafford or not, taking Tua at number 3, knowing where you're at, knowing that your defense is 30th overall, knowing that you don't have a healthy running back to count on right now, and the fact that you don't have an offensive line, because let's be real, folks, Wagner's a possibility of getting cut. You haven't said whether or not you're going to re-sign Taylor Decker. You don't know if Graham Glasgow is going to come back either, because he's going to want to get paid in free agency, and you don't have another guard after that. So you have right now maybe 2, but for sure 1 starting offensive lineman coming back right now in Frank Ragnow, who happens to be the best center in football right now, by the way. So, with all that being said, and you want to spend the number 3 pick on taking a quarterback, knowing full well that he will not play for you, right? And if he does, and say Stafford gets hurt again, God forbid, right? And he does, or they somehow figure out a way to get rid of Stafford, right? You are going to sit there and you are going to let that kid die because you don't have an offensive line, a run game, or a defense that can support him. So what are you going to wind up with? The same thing that we're at right now, where you have a talented quarterback with nothing around him. And I'm not talking wide receivers. I'm talking straight the rest of the team. The rest of these teams in the playoffs, Tannehill, Garoppolo, right? Kirk Cousins, even I'll throw in there, right? All these quarterbacks who are not at the same level. Don't get me started on that. They're not the same level as Stafford. They're all winning games. Why? There's a run game. There's a defense. There's other facets of the game that are working for these football teams, folks. Tom Brady and the Patriots didn't lose to Tennessee because Tom Brady is not as good as Ryan Tannehill. Okay? I'm just putting that out there now. Sorry. Excuse me. I had to get it off my chest. Sorry. It's just the fascination. If you honestly think that the Lions are one player away from winning the Super Bowl, please tell me where you're seeing that. Because I saw a 30th ranked defense that could never get a stop. I saw a team that couldn't run the ball effectively. I saw times where receivers couldn't get open. I saw times where the quarterback couldn't make a play. There's everything involved. But they're not one player away. If they were one player away, they'd be in the playoffs right now. Or they would have just lost. Like, if you're Minnesota, you could easily say, we're maybe one player away. Mm-hmm. Right? If you're New Orleans, you could say you're one player away, maybe. If you're Baltimore, you could say, we're one dominant wide receiver away, a go-to guy from possibly being in the AFC Championship game. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? With assuming Lamar is able to throw a football. You know what I mean? You're not there. You're not. So stop saying it. Sorry, I don't want to go. It's not you particularly.
No, I don't think it's a good idea.
Yeah,
I don't care if his career is ruined. I just. All right. Okay. Let's keep going. Sorry, I had to have that moment to get that off my chest because it drives me insane. But continue. Okay. Number 4.
We find out what drives insane.
Good Lord.
All right.
Stupidity is what drives me insane.
Number 4. New York Giants pick. Rob.
Oh boy. They could go a lot of places here, but I'm gonna say Jerry Jeudy. I think they need weapons. They need Golden Tate and maybe Sterling Shepard, but.
Kyle?
I'm gonna say CeeDee Lamb.
Ooh. You both are wrong.
Oh, Derek Brown?
Jedrick Wills, offensive lineman.
Oh, okay. Yeah,
I set you guys up for failure.
That was rough. Yeah, honestly though, that's not the worst thing. You draft Daniel Jones at 8.
Yeah.
Right. You got Saquon Barkley. You want to run the football, right?
Yeah.
That's not a bad idea. I just think that they could give them more weapons. I could give Daniel Jones more weapons.
Yes.
Which I think, as we all know, right? Pass sets up the run sets up the pass. You're able to throw the ball effectively.
Yep.
More lanes for Saquon.
Number 5, Miami Dolphins pick. Kyle.
Tua.
Yeah, it's Tua.
They do pick Tua.
Right.
In this draft.
All right. Let's go 6, and then let's talk about some possible trade scenarios.
Right. And number 6, LA Chargers pick. Got it.
Are you looking at the draft right now? Because I was about to be so pissed you found your article.
You go. I don't know.
I'm going to say Herbert.
They do pick Herbert.
Okay. Right. So all right. So let's talk about this for a second there, right? Because let's assume Tua's healthy, right? You know, and we talked about this off air, but let's talk about the possible scenario of the Lions trading down, because I think those are the two prime targets right now. I think that if you have hope that the Lions trade down, I think both Miami and the Chargers are two prime candidates, right? Mike, could you bring up the draft chart there just to see? So just to give you guys a basis, right? This is just straight baseline minimum that they could probably get for trading down just a couple spots, just in case Tua's healthy, and say maybe the Chargers don't want Herbert, they want Tua instead. They know they got to get in front of Miami to do it. You know what I mean? The Giants probably really don't have any incentive to move, just in case somebody wants to go get a wide receiver or whoever. I think the Lions are a prime target because they know more than likely they're not taking a quarterback, if I had to guess. So the Chargers, basically, the way this works, right, there's a point value system applied to every pick, right? So, for instance, Cincinnati's number 1 overall pick is worth 3,000 points, right? So the Lions' number 3 pick is worth what?
2,200.
2,200, right?
So hypothetically, in this scenario, if they wanted to trade down with Miami, they would swap picks. So Detroit would go to 5. Miami would go to 3, and we'd also get Miami's second round, number 39 overall pick.
Okay.
And that would equal 22.
That would equal the same amount of value, basically, based off of this chart. You guys can look it up. It was invented by Gil Brandt. I think it was Gil Brandt. Gil Brandt or Tex Schramm, one of the two. Either way, it's kind of a common knowledge. A lot of every NFL team uses it as kind of a baseline. That's not what we're saying. Is that is just so people who are wondering what they can get down for trade down value, right? As far as an individual pick goes, it's worth those two, right? Could they get more? Absolutely. But at bare minimum, that would be probably what they would get if they got that. So, and for instance, let's say the Chargers wanted to trade up to 3.
So the Chargers would probably have to swap picks. So they would get 3, we would get 6. They'd probably give us their second round pick, number 37. And then probably to add it up, would get a 6th round pick.
Okay, so that's, once again, right, that's just bare minimum. Now, I know what you're going to say, well, the Bears got, or the Niners got a whole bunch of stuff from the Bears. That's the baseline. This is a baseline for us where it says, okay, that one pick is worth this. The Lions could go, Miami, we're going to need 5 and 17 is another one that they have or something like that. What's the next one they have in the first round? Yeah.
They have 18 and 20... 25. 25.
Okay, so is it 25?
27.
27. Okay, sorry. All right, so in that case, right, so, okay, we want 5 and 27, say, for instance, right, in addition to a 4th or whatever. So lots of fluctuation there, but obviously we're just kind of giving you guys a baseline because I think it's important when we go into this draft season. Everyone always likes the idea of trading down. What are you getting for that? Is for instance, right? I think that if they traded down to 5 or 6, I think Okudah could definitely still be there.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And I think it gives a little more ammunition, more throws at the dartboard. Always a good sign. All right, that's going to be it for part 1 of this episode. When we come back, we're going to talk Big Ten basketball, and we're going to talk some other stuff as well, but I'm not going to say it because I want to be sneaky. All that after the break. Stick around. And welcome back to part 2 of this week's episode. Thanks once again to Mr. Nick DiStefano for all that great support that you always do. Make sure to give him a call. Let's just jump right in though, Mike. Let's talk college football playoff real quick because Kyle wasn't here. And then we're gonna jump into the XFL. I know you're excited about the XFL. I know you're excited. It's okay. I want to talk about this real quick. I know that the show will be dropping the day of the game. You know what I mean? So we're not gonna spend a lot of time on this. But Kyle, let's give your take. You were not here the day after the Final Four, where Ohio State blew it, and where LSU completely dominated. So now we have Clemson, LSU. Who is your pick to win the national championship?
Which Tiger is your pick?
Yeah. Which Tony the Tiger is your favorite?
Short, I'm gonna take Clemson because I can't really go against Trevor Lawrence and his streak. That's the safe. Do I want to see Joe Burrow win? Yes.
No.
But I do think Clemson will win. Just like the experience.
You're so hard. You were just like, no. Honestly, if Michigan was in this spot, I still think you'd go Clemson.
So quickly.
Okay, so you got Clemson, right?
Yeah.
So basically, is it your thought, because Mike's thought, right, and I'm kind of on your path a little bit, honestly, where it's hard to choose against a guy when he hasn't lost, right? You've never seen what a Clemson loss with Trevor Lawrence at quarterback looks like, because it's never happened before. Are you more confident that they, because of the experience that they have, is going to kind of give them the ultimate edge over LSU, where LSU's kind of like, we got 1 year to do this because he's leaving, so we got to figure it out.
Yeah, but that's exactly what I was trying to say.
Yeah.
Is that like the experience that they have, never losing in the Trevor Lawrence era, like it's really hard to go against that. I mean, I guess unless you're like an LSU homer, you're like Joe Burrow, Heisman, you know.
And that's fine. That's fine. But completely fair.
But like the smart answer is they've never lost. You know, their experience, they've been there, they've won this. So that's just
what's the spread? Check the spread right now, real fast, while we're live on the air. Here, let's see what the spread is, just to see.
See if you bet the spread.
Just to see who's favored, real quick, and then we're gonna move on to the XFL.
I know LSU's favored.
I know that, right, yeah, but just by how much, right?
Hold on.
That wouldn't be.
I wasn't ready for this.
I'm not sure.
They don't prepare me for this.
I'm sorry. I get these ideas in my head midway through the show.
LSU's favored by 5.5 points.
5.5. That's a weird number because it's like it's not a touchdown, but it's like not a field goal either. Kind of thing. So you're like, eek. Would you bet that?
No.
Like take your bias out of it. Just looking at the game.
Well, no, because I think Clemson's gonna win, and it's LSU minus 5.5.
Right.
So I think if anything, LSU only wins by like up to 4. So then subtracting my 5.5, I don't think they would win. I think Clemson covers no matter what.
Right. Yeah. No,
I just don't know. I mean, I think
it's a field goal game, guys. I really do. I think it's a field goal game. I'm very, very, very excited. Give me a final score real quick, Cal. Too. We gave final scores a couple weeks ago. You can go back and listen to our archives for that.
Rob basically copied me, so.
Kyle's going to be like 72 to 69 because he wanted to say 69 on the air.
How many touchdowns? I will say 35-38.
I think that's what I said.
That's exactly
what I said. That's awesome. There we go. See, we're in sync. All right. Just had to touch on it real quick. Enjoy the game, guys. All right, let's talk XFL. Let's talk XFL now. Vince McMahon's new creation. What a maneuver it is. We're going to talk XFL, right? The new league, right? Similar to the AAF that we talked about. Isn't it weird? We've been doing this show now a little over a year. We have now talked about 2 different football leagues outside of the NFL in less than a year. Isn't that nuts? Oh, man, just goes to show you how much people really like football. The XFL, right? Vince McMahon, the creation, kind of going forward here. We've got, 8 teams? Is it 8 teams in the XFL right now?
8.
8 teams, right? Okay, they're starting up right after the Super Bowl, basically right in the springtime. You know, we're going to get more football, basically, leading up, which I hopefully will kind of bridge the gap for me up until the draft in free agency. All right, Mike, so we're going to talk about some of their new rules. As you may remember a few years ago, some of our listeners may have not even been alive then, but the XFL, when it first kind of came out in the late 90s, early 2000s, you know, a lot of different rules, right? No kickoffs, right? You had to run to get the ball to determine, you know, who got the ball first, and, you know, a lot of different random kind of rules that some of them didn't make a lot of sense. You know, they had nicknames on the back of their jerseys, weird stuff. The product was not very good. You got Tommy Maddox out of it, I guess, but outside of that, not a whole lot to it. But now they've just come out and introduced some more rules, right, that may be a little bit off the beaten path. So, Mike, let's get some of those, and then we're also going to unveil
the team.
We're going to unveil the team.
Okay.
The team.
Do you know the team?
I know the team.
Okay.
Yeah, boy.
Okay, so we're first going to go with kick. Have you read any of these?
I've seen a couple. I've seen like a summary of 5 of them. I haven't seen all of them.
Have you seen any of these? So they're all new to you?
All right, I haven't seen nothing. He's been busy.
So kickoffs so we're going to kick off from our own 25-yard line to start the game.
Right.
If the ball, everyone has to be stationary until the ball is either caught or it lands down. So no one can. There's no running back.
Okay.
They all stand at the 35-yard line. The receiving team. They stand at the 35.
Does the kicking team have to? Can the kicking team run?
No. Nobody can move until the ball gets received. It's probably gonna save.
It's basically trying to encourage kick returns.
Yes.
That's basically what
it's encouraging kick returns.
Right.
If the ball lands within the 20-yard line and then bounces through the end zone, it's called a minor touchback, and the ball starts at their own 15-yard line.
Ooh.
Now, if you get the ball through the end zone, it's a major touchback, and you get the ball at the 35-yard line.
Woo. So, like, you're almost forcing the kicker to kick it to you.
Yeah.
In order to
that rule is basically, to me, being like, you are going to...
Yeah, we're going to do kick returns. So special teams is going to play a huge part in this, right? And something the NFL is kind of trying to whittle away a little bit. The XFL's like...
No,
I think the XFL made a list. Here's everything the NFL does, right? Here's all the things that they do. all right, what can we do to be different? It's very similar to what WCW did and Eric Bischoff. They went, here's everything that WWE does, here's everything we're going to do different. You know what I mean? So it's very interesting to see the parallels there.
And onside kicks are just going to be like normal NFL for the most part.
Okay.
So on punts, there's no more coffin corner punts. If the ball goes past the 35-yard line when it's punted, the ball gets spotted there.
Oh.
So say you kick it from like the 50-yard line and you're trying to like bounce it within the one. But no, this is only if it goes out of bounds though. So if you're trying to like bounce at the 1-yard line and have it go out of bounds so it's at the 1-yard line, the ball gets spotted at the 35. So unless you like down it in the field of play, the ball will probably be spotted at the 35-yard line.
Returns as well. Yeah. Wow, they're very heavy on special teams.
Extra points. There's no kicking in the XFL.
All kickers are pissed.
So you will have a try from either the 2-yard line, the 5-yard line, or the 10-yard line, and deeming on which one you go for, you get that many. You get 1, 2, or 3 points.
So you can get a field goal extra basically if you go from the 10-yard line.
So you can get up to a 9-point play in the XFL because you can get the touchdown.
How many
games are
going to be decided by like 2?
I know exactly.
It's going to be crazy.
You have the double forward pass, so now a team can throw a forward pass, and as long as you're behind the line of scrimmage, you can throw another forward pass.
Okay, I see what you mean there.
So
it's not a fumble anymore, so it's encouraging.
So you can go like if you take the shotgun snap and you throw it, and it's at like the line of scrimmage area, that receiver can catch it and throw it, so it doesn't have to be a backwards lateral for it to get another throw.
Right.
Overtime.
Oh, I can see like a screenplay doing that. Where
exactly.
Like you let it, you throw it to the running back turns around, then chucks it deep
exactly.
downfield. That's really, you're really kind of forcing, you're really trying to, I see what the XFL is trying to do here is where you're really trying to get creative with some of this, right? What you're really hoping for the XFL is a lot of big plays, like stuff you've never seen before, right? Like kick returns are exciting, right? Trick plays on special teams are exciting, those kinds of things. So that's just one more like layer where you're just like, hey, there's a whole level of plays now that we can use that are different.
So now we're gonna go to overtime rules quickly.
Yeah.
So it's a shootout style. So it's good. It looks more like college football, but it plays a little differently.
Okay.
So Team A and Team B, their offense and defense are on one side of the field. Then the other Team B and Team A's offense and defense are on the other side of the field.
That's weird.
So they're on opposite sides. So this
Who scores first? No.
Yeah. So say it's like Lions and Packers. Lions offense, Packers defense on one side.
Yep.
Packers offense, Lions defense on the other side.
That's weird.
They do a coin toss side. Who goes first? Say the Lions go first.
And they just stand there and watch the other side?
Yeah, so one side's over here, right? They have the ball on this side. They go from the 2-yard line. They try to get a conversion.
Right.
If they get it,
take it off and...
If you get, I'll explain.
Right.
So you go for it, right?
Right.
If you get it, you get 2 points, and that's your first try.
Right.
It's out of 5 tries. Then the other side goes right after that.
Right.
They go. If they get it, they get it.
Okay.
They get 2 points.
Right.
If the defense stops them, gets an interception or anything, then it's just like you lose that try. You don't get any points.
Oh, okay.
So the team after 5 tries, whoever has the most points wins.
That's weird. Yeah, it's like a weird like college football slash
soccer shootout.
Yeah, that's weird.
Yes.
I don't know if I necessarily like that or not, but
See,
that's like not like finger like woo.
Yeah, it keeps you. I think overtime's gonna be very interesting.
Yeah.
And then some other kind of minor rule changes. It's 1 foot inbounds for a successful catch, not 2.
So like college, okay.
Yeah, it's good college.
They're not as good. You only can get 1 foot.
It's an always running clock outside of the final 2 minutes. So it's gonna be continuously running.
Even on first downs?
Even on first downs, you're just going to keep running. So you got to be up quick.
They want people to. They don't want. They wish they. I'm surprised.
They don't want huddles.
They don't want huddles. They don't want defense.
No.
They want high scoring, big play. Like it's 60 to 45 kind of scores.
They have a dedicated ball spotter on the officiating crew, where their job is to get the ball and spot it down where it's supposed to be. And once the ball's spotted, you have 25 seconds to run your play. The second it's spotted, you have 2 timeouts per half.
Wow.
You have a 10-minute halftime, and this one's very interesting. So coach to player communication devices are in the helmets of all offensive skill position players.
Oh.
And
because you're trying to prevent huddles, so you kind of have to.
Yeah, so you could be like, hey, wide receiver 1, run this route, run this route. Quarterback, look for this. Like you can talk to all of them in the helmets.
It's almost like it's like backyard football, but professional now. It's like, hey, we just call it halfback dive, but I actually want you to run a fly.
Exactly.
And he's gonna fake it, and he's gonna dump it over.
Yeah, and all of them have that same audio.
yeah. So everyone's like, all right, we're gonna sell the run hard, and that is crazy.
I think they're just trying to add a lot of like excitement, a lot of like the.
Yeah, they don't want defense.
NFL.
If this could be 7-on-7 and be real football, they would do it. I feel like, you know what I mean? Oh, no pass rushing, fine. We don't need to say that stuff.
All of that audio can go to the broadcaster, so the broadcaster.
That's what I was gonna ask you. I was like, man, that would be really cool if we could hear that. Like, hey, like we just called XY Zing 2-5 wire.
Yeah, they're gonna have all of that. They're gonna have so the broadcasters can pick and choose what clips they want to use.
That's cool, right? To get in, like, oh, here's this play call they just called on this. I'd be a little pissed.
Tony Romo's like, I don't need this. I already know what they're doing.
Romo calls like, I don't even know this.
There are no coaches challenges. All reviews come from replay officials. And there's a guy at the very top that beeps down after any controversial play, and he's the one guy that decides what happens.
Now that's interesting for me because that is something that I think the NFL really needs to look back on again. I think that's something the CBA is going to be hinged upon, as well as overtime rules again. I think overtime is going to get changed. I have a very strong feeling where both teams get a shot no matter what. I think everyone's kind of getting stupid. Like, I lost a coin toss, and that's why we lost the game kind of thing. I think there's some things like that, and I think the XFL, if they can provide a blueprint, you know, and this kind of takes off a little bit, where people go, see, it's not that hard, NFL, to get this right, where anytime anything's even consideration, because they're forcing the clock to run continuously, it's a faster rate of play, so you can take that time to go, wait, you know what, let's take a second, let's look at it, let's confirm it's right, and then let's go.
You could hypothetically have a 3-hour game, but the game feels like you're going into the fourth quarter at 2 hours.
Right.
So you have all the extra 45 minutes of beef time that you can be like, we can stop games.
Let's make sure we're getting this right. Let's make sure that there's nothing controversial where it goes, oh, that should definitely been pass interference.
So Kyle, to ask you anything that sparks your interest out of all these rules I just said.
I mean, not a certain rule, but I think like the general scheme is how they're trying to take away the boring stuff, like the field. I mean, other than like a game-winning field goal, like these field goals.
They don't want
the kick return.
Well, you can kick field goals. Like if you're at the 30,
you're not kicking extra points.
You're not kicking extra points. All of those.
But it's still like the excitement factor. Like after they score, then okay, now they're gonna do. They are
trying to make every single play seem important. That's what they're trying to do, right? The extra point, everyone goes, all right, we scored, cool. Let's go get a drink and we'll come back by the kickoff, right? No one cares, right? That's what the NFL tried to do by moving the kick back, right? And we saw that originally, but it's kind of mellowed out. But now you're seeing this where it's like, no, you have to pay attention because this play, it could theoretically come back to bite you in the ass, and now you lost by 1 because you couldn't find a 2-yard play.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So lots of interesting stuff there. Who do you want to announce it, Mike?
No, I think who do you want to announce it? Do you want to announce it?
I think you should announce it.
I'll explain. Each person says one word.
Okay.
All right, so I'll say the city, you say
the first part of it,
and you say the second part. So listen, real quick before we go on to basketball here. So basically, me, Mike, and Kyle, right, as the IAR family, as we are known, we went through every XFL team. And we went and basically, we as a team decided to jump on a team's bandwagon. Because there's not a Detroit team, right? Which, if there ever is a Detroit XFL team, we immediately leave this team and join the Detroit one.
Yes.
That's the one rule. But we decided to choose a team basically to support throughout this season, as we're going to have to watch and cover it and all that good stuff.
No matter what.
That's our team. Just like we're Lions fans till death, we're these fans till death. Hopefully we chose right.
We choose a team that goes 0-8.
I know, 0-8. We're like, sweet. Wow. But anyway.
Get kicked out of the league.
Right, no kidding. So, we chose a team based off a couple different criteria, right? The name, the city, right? The logo, the uniforms, and if we could recognize any of the players, kind of.
In that order.
In that order, basically, yeah. The actual team composition was least on our list, really. It was really based off...
We'll get used to it.
Yeah, who had cool merch, who had a cool name, who didn't look generic, and all that good stuff. So, without further ado, the official I'm Always Right Sports podcast XFL team is the... Oh, am I saying the city?
Yeah.
Oh, St. Louis
Battle
Hawks. Woo!
Yes.
There we go. We did it. Big time here. Big time. The St. Louis Battle Hawks are the team for a couple reasons. Number one, we like the logo.
Yes.
Thought that was cool. The unis look pretty nice, right? St. Louis does not have a football team anymore, so it's kind of easy to be like, all right, well, I don't want to root for Chicago because screw Chicago, screw the Bears, or I don't want to choose for a Dallas team because screw the Cowboys, you know what I mean? Yeah. So it's easy, and plus it's Texas. Nobody likes anybody in Texas. A lot of good stuff there about St. Louis Battle Hawks are the official XFL team for the I Boys Red Sports podcast. They kind of match the color scheme a little bit, too.
A little bit.
I think we have a little bit of a lighter blue. But anyway, did you see on Twitter, I didn't meant to ask you that, you see they retweeted a picture of a guy who got a tattoo of the logo already?
Yeah.
I thought that was hilarious. They could be around for like 10 days. And
they could.
They could close down.
They could have like half a season.
After 1 week, they're like, yeah, this is a disaster. All of a sudden, by the way, we're just done now.
We're cutting everything.
We're cutting it. All right, let's jump into basketball here. Let's talk about Big Ten here. Well, the reason why we want to talk about the Big Ten, number one, Kyle's here. He wanted to talk about it, number one. And number two, we just coming off the Michigan State matchup, right? Michigan State gets the win pretty much in a dominating performance, we can say. But the more important thing we want to talk about is the Big Ten Conference as a whole. Now, I don't think any of us here anticipated the amount of depth that the Big Ten as a whole has as far as competition-wise. Ohio State, right up there. Michigan State, Michigan, Rutgers, Purdue. A lot of teams out there right now. Kyle, just give me your thoughts on where you think Michigan State kind of compares in the conference. Not as they're sitting right now, but going in, we thought Michigan State was going to run away with it, theoretically. Michigan may have taken a step back. They lost a couple guys, new coach, but then they start out really hot when the tournament, whatever, beat 3 top 10 teams in a very short amount of time, right? So Michigan was high up there for a minute. Now they've kind of regressed back to the mean. Michigan State kind of taking the forefront in the state, but they're not even in first place in the conference right now. So give me your outlook on Michigan State going forward as we're continuing Big Ten play.
So with the roster they have right now, through the season till the tournament, I think they have the best chance of winning the championship, being the best team.
Yeah.
I know there's been a lot of good teams losing.
You're talking about Big Ten championship.
Yeah,
right?
yeah. And a lot of good teams losing all around the conference. But the problem with Michigan State is if Cassius Winston gets hurt, then you have
they're dead.
No,
they're dead in the water.
You're starting Rocket Watts as your point guard, whatever his name is, 5'9", Foster Lawyer. You have Xavier Tillman who's going to be your best player at that point, and which he's good. He's a good board. He can score down low, but you have no playmaking. You have some shooting. You overall, but without Cassius Winston, you're gonna Ohio State or someone will overpass them. So right now they're kind of hitting their stride where they're trending up. But if you lose him or something goes on with him, then I feel like that all could just crumble very easily.
Who do you think's the most complete team in the Big Ten?
Most complete team?
Yeah. Oof. You could lose a couple guys and you're still
you're still there.
You know what I mean? Complete. Because I would say State's the best, but as you said, Cassius Winston's out. You're now probably the bottom.
Cassius Winston is playing out of his mind.
Yeah.
Especially when he plays Michigan, dude. It's another level.
Yeah. But who do you think's that team that you can lose maybe your best guy for a period of time or something, and you're still there?
I want to say Michigan, because I know Livers is out. I know they lost to State, but I feel like since there is that absence of a true playmaker. I know he's their best player, but he's not really a true playmaker. He's not really the guy who's going to hit that shot for you.
Right.
I don't really know completely most of the rosters in the Big Ten, but I know that Michigan has overall the guys who can hit shots and dribble. You have Franz Wagner, who I think will get better over time playing college basketball. Xavier Simpson, he can't really shoot, but he is a great passer. He can dribble, he can drive and dish out passes. He's like a Rondo. But I'm gonna say right now, Michigan is the most complete team because they just have.
I think you're right, but I don't think necessarily that benefits them. And here's what I mean by that is that in this instance, right, I think Michigan, because this team is extremely similar to last year's team, right, because you don't have a guy like a Cassius Winston, right, to go to, Michigan at times, this is I think why you're seeing this right now, the struggle is because you do not have a guy who can take over. Right? Yes. There is not, and hopefully, as some of these bigger time recruits come in, and we'll talk about that at the end of the year, as the team kind of makes up, we got a couple 5-stars, a couple 4-stars coming in, right? The team is, the recruiting level is escalated quite a bit since Jawan got here, right? Mm-hmm. But because of that, and we saw this against Texas Tech in the college football playoff, I almost said, the Big Ten, or the NCAA tournament, for the love of Pete, you saw where Michigan struggled offensively, right? Mm-hmm. And they didn't have an answer because there wasn't a guy like a Cassius Winston to go, I got it. You know what I mean? Give me the ball, right? They don't have that one particular. Every national championship team, for the most part, has one guy or two guys that you can kind of point to and go, whether it's Duke, all right, Jaleel Okafor, go nuts for 8 games and go dominate, right? Whether it's State with Cassius Winston or whether it's Anthony Davis with Kentucky, whatever the case may be, some guy that I can go, all right, I need 25. Like, I need 25 from you. Okay, I got it, no problem. You know what I mean? I think that's going to hurt Michigan in the Big Ten. I think you're right that they probably are the most consistent. They have the least amount of drop-off between their starters and their bench.
Yeah.
But I don't know how much better their starters are.
No, I agree.
Overall,
I look at it out of 10, they're all 6 out of 10s.
Yeah.
Which is solid.
Right.
But State has a 10 out of 10,
right.
And then all 7 or 6
exactly.
or 5
there's some 7 out of 10s in their starters, and then they go to 5 out of 10s on their bench, but you're able to kind of mix and match when you have those guys in there, right?
If State had Langford, if he wasn't hurt,
right,
then I'd be yeah, for sure.
Right.
Yeah, and
I always say State because State has one guy. Maryland only has that one guard.
Right.
I have to look up his name.
Right.
But they have the one guard that's amazing. But without him,
I think Ohio State's another team kind of similar to Michigan too. But I think Ohio State probably has times where they're a little more efficient offensively. Yeah. You know what I mean? That's why I'm interested to see as the recruiting kind of steps up for Michigan, kind of on par with Michigan State. Michigan State is pretty good recruiting, in basketball especially, where they kind of get up into this Duke, North Carolina kind of range where you're getting 5-star athletes coming in here. You know what I mean? I'm interested to see, all right, do we have that now? Are we able to turn to a guy and make that happen? Or are we still going to try to play this team ball thing? Because, even in the Fab Five time, right? Chris Webber was the guy. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? We need a big play. C-Web, get the ball. You know what I mean? Make a play. You know what I mean? So you have these kind of guys here. So it's very interesting to see this. But who wins the Big Ten?
Right, I'm gonna say Michigan State.
Michigan State? Yeah. Who wins the Big Ten?
There's
a lot of teams, man. I like Purdue even. Purdue's a hell of a basketball team.
I'm gonna say Maryland.
Maryland?
Because I think that one guy will go nuts for 4 games.
I think the Spartans win. I think the Spartans win. I think the Spartans go in heavy betting favorites for the national championship, and then they do something stupid and lose in the Sweet 16. More than likely, but yeah, right? It's just because something stupid. All right, that's going to be it for this week's episode of the I Am Always Right Sports Podcast. Thanks, Kyle, for coming back on.
Of course.
Coming back home. Love it. Mike, you're always here, so.
Yeah, no, I don't get any. I have to not show up for a week and then maybe a more month.
I'm here by myself, and I go, welcome to the I Am Always. My co-host, he's not here. But that's going to be it, guys. For the Whaleman, for the Merc Zone, I'm the Mouth of Michigan, and we will see you guys, as always, next time.